All right, I think I can slowly kick it off. Ready to go, Mike?
I sure am.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining today. This is our What's New webinar. Today we'll be running through the winter release, so all the features that have come out just earlier this week. So first off, my name's Stephen Tram. I'm part of the product marketing team. And I'll be running through this session with Mike Everett as well. He's the principal solution consultant. So we've taken a bit of a dive into the key features that we've got for winter. Some of these are the people insights powered by AI, AI templates that have come out, the metrics trigger for email, flag and fix, and a bunch more. So throughout the key features, Mike's going to jump in to an in-product demo just to give us a bit of a deeper dive. After the key features, I'll run through some other smaller usability and productivity innovations that have come out for the winter release. I'll talk a bit about the People Cloud Custom Services, which is a new service offering that we've got out where we're partnering with you to help bring in some of your business data. So the sales data, the productivity data, and helping to unlock further insights where you can understand more about your business and its impact on your people and the impact that your people have on your business. We'll follow that by questions, but if you've got any questions throughout the session, feel free to add it into the Q&A box. And we've got some of the team that should be, we've got some people from the product team that'll be helping with some of the questions that you've got. Alrighty, so for the first feature that we've got is People Insights powered by AI. So we've got 4 new pre-built context-driven AI analyses that have come out for the winter release. And I'll just note, this is limited availability. So if you're interested in this feature, please contact your CSM. And if you're not sure who your CSM is, you can just create a technical support ticket in the Visier service portal, and someone would be able to assist you from there. So People Insights powered by AI is all about providing you with deeper insights into individual employees and teams, so that you can better understand your teams and really have the insights to help support your people leaders and your managers. So the 4 templates that we've got out for this feature is Employee 360. And this is all about understanding your employee's work history. So seeing how an individual employee compares with the rest of the team, what the similarities are, such as their tenure, their training, their performance. And this would be really beneficial for new managers that just have joined the team, really being able to understand the makeup of their team and specific individuals as well. The second analysis that we've got is high-risk employees. So who are the people within your team that are most at risk of resignation based on similarities with recent turnover within your team? So this could be looking at tenure, location, anything related to compensation. So really understanding the people that are at risk based off people that have recently left the organization. The third one is recent turnover. So looking at the potential reasons that could have contributed to turnover within your team. So what did recent turnover have most in common? An example of this is if there were high cases within a specific location or within a specific team or under a specific leader. And the last one is off-cycle compensation review. So understanding how you can ensure that you're paying your employee fairly and equitably compared to the rest of your team. This is really streamlining that process for managers where they're able to easily review individual employee compensation and ensure that they're paying them fairly based having a look at the rest of the team. So all of these analyses provide deeper insight into individuals and into your teams, but the additional power behind this is these can be triggered when a specific event occurs. So this could be changes in position, changes in salary, voluntary turnover. where the full analysis would be scheduled. And once something happens, such as voluntary turnover, the full analyses would be sent out to your people manager and to the people that matter. So really helping to provide insight to them straight away. So a great example of this would be if someone within my team has recently left, so that triggers voluntary turnover. I could have that set up so the high-risk employees and the recent turnover insights are sent to my email address straight away. So straight away, when someone in my team leaves, I understand who else in my team is most at risk of leaving based off other people that have recently left. And I can also understand the reasons why they might be leaving. So this would help to really provide me with notification that there are people that are at risk, but also show me what are the tailored retention strategies and approaches that I should be looking at to help retain my team. So just to recap, the People Insights Powered by AI feature, it's really helping to provide critical insights into individual employees. So deepening the insights that really help your organization to understand your people a lot better. You're able to compare employees relative to the rest of your team. And you're able to spot risks and risk drivers before they really become a bigger issue. And being able to get those insights as soon as possible, delivered straight to your email address, straight to your people leaders. We're really providing the actionable insights into the hands of people that are making those critical decisions. Now, the next feature I'll run through is metrics trigger for email. So previously, you're able to schedule email analyses to recipients at a specific point in time. But this feature enables you to trigger analyses based off meaningful events, like what I've just mentioned around voluntary turnover or changes in data. So metrics reaching a certain threshold, metrics increasing by X amount. And a good example of this would be sales performance. So if you've brought in your sales performance data, if you're seeing that the sales performance level drop, an email could be triggered where that notification goes to your people manager or the sales leader, where you're able to get insights into sales performance for your team and understand if you need to run a review with specific individuals within your team. And another great example is around diversity. So let's say you've got a goal to have women in leadership roles at over 45%. But let's say your women in leadership within a specific area or within a specific department has dropped under 35%. You could have that email triggered where an analysis is sent out to your chief diversity officer or to specific people leaders to notify them that this is occurring and this needs to be looked at straight away. So we're really delivering targeted and relevant insights to your leaders, to your people managers when they need it. And they get access to those insights to really be able to make the timely, critical decisions. And they don't even have to log into Visier. So you're getting those insights by email as soon as there's a change in data where they really need to be looking at it, helping them to mitigate any concerns and any risks before they really become a bigger issue. Now I'll pass it over to Mike. He's going to give us a demo of some of the AI templates that you've just seen.
Great, thank you, Stephen. And there is a question from Matt Hamilton, but I'm hoping that the demo will help to, oh, there you go. Ty's answered the question for me. But hopefully it'll start to make some more sense once you've seen the new capabilities. So I'm going to take you into hopefully a familiar area of Visier. I'm just going to use the Explore room. Now, a lot of the dynamic templates, the AI insights, will be triggered by events and metric changes. Now, obviously, in a demo environment where I'm just I've got fairly static data, it's quite difficult for me to simulate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the AI insight templates from within the view details area, which is another area that that you can access them from. So I've just gone into Explore. I'm looking at a breakdown of headcount by org hierarchy, and I'm just going to drill into my sales organization. So I have 218 people in here, and I'm going to click into view details. So I can see these people, and I'm going to pull up one of my individuals here, a buyer. She's a sales executive, and you can see my AI templates down the right-hand side. Now, I'm not going to go into all of these. I'll just show you a couple of examples. So the first one I'll do is I'm going to take you into my AI insights for an employee 360. And these are only examples. I mean, these are examples of templates that we're bringing out in this first release. So, the ability for people to, build their own templates will be available. And you can see as I've gone into the AI templates, you can see that right from the start, you can see the title is incorporating the data and the date for a buyer. And as I scroll down, you can see that this is an insight based around her, and Visier has identified some similar employees. So there are some not only triggers, but also populations of people that are being automatically identified. As I scroll down through the insights, you can see that we've got some basic metrics about the individual. So we can see her tenure, her age, her performance, her risk of exit, etc. And Visier can then also pull up some other characteristics of similar people. So you can see in this employee comparison, she is being compared with 223 other similar employees around the organization. So you can see comparisons of how she compares in terms of comp ratio, market rate, tenure, etc. As I scroll down, one other thing that you might be interested in, bearing in mind that a buyer is a sales exec, is you want to know how she's comparing to her peers. So you can see that we've pulled in some business KPI data around sales revenue and sales quota attainment, and you can see that in the blue here on the trend spark lines, you can see that she compares pretty well to her team in terms of revenue brought in versus her similar people. You can also see that sales quota attainment is good, and then you can see some bar charts with some reference lines referencing those sales quota attainment metrics. So some really great visualizations allowing you to compare people. But of course, this is all powered by Visier's AI, pulling all of this information automatically, and the ability to trigger these analyses to be delivered directly to the right people. We can then see some comparisons to between a buyer and some of other people in her team. And as I scroll down, you can also then start to see some other insights around, okay, so let's look at a buyer. She's clearly someone we want to keep hold of in the organization. She hasn't had a promotion for 2.5 years. She's fairly lowly paid. She's in the red zone in this visualization. Maybe we should do something about it. As I said, this is just an example. And if I pull up another example, so I'm going to come out of this, go back to my Explore room. And let's say, for example, I wanted to see a breakdown of resignation count. So I want to find some people that have left the business. And if I go into my operations department, drill into the details, I can see the 25 that have exited this month. So if I pull up the AI insights into recent turnover, and again, you would expect this to be triggered automatically based on an event happening like a resignation, and you can then control who this is going to get sent to. So if I just pull up this second analysis, you can see that this is looking at Alfonso, and Alfonso has recently resigned. So we want to look at other employees that are similar to Alfonso. As I scroll down, you can see we've got some looking at how many other exits have there been. Are any of them regrettable? We've configured them as high performers or women or people in their first year of employment. We can also start looking at, were we expecting to lose these people? So we know what their risk of exit was. We know that they've left the business. I can look at things like predictive risk of exit in terms of reference lines to show the trailing 12-month average for my team. And Alfonso had a 21% risk of exit, slightly above average. Was he expected to leave? Possibly. Could we have done something about it? Maybe. And then some comparisons between the employees, as we saw before, and again looking at other conclusions that we can draw. And I suspect most of you are familiar with the drivers charts, and you can see now that we're auto-populating this drivers chart with some attributes that we believe were significant amongst this group of similar employees that we've identified. So just a couple of examples there around the AI insights, really powerful, really truly leading the way in terms of this AI powered insights. One other thing I wanted to go into, I'm going to go into an analysis, and I'm going to go into this one here. I just wanted to cover some of the new scheduling options that Stephen talked about. So now if you go to your email scheduling capabilities, you'll see a section around conditional delivery, and then you can base your rules on things like metric values, changing metric values, distance from the group, difference from the metric overall, etc. So, not having to schedule these, analyses for delivery just on a regular weekly, monthly, daily basis, but actually based on the metrics contained within them, or the metrics that you want to say, okay, if resignation rate for this particular group goes above 10%, then I want this analysis to be triggered to a particular individual or a group of individuals. Okay, so that was all I had to cover in this first section. I'm going to hand back to Stephen to cover the next bit.
Thanks, Mike. So yeah, very powerful analysis, and like Mike mentioned, you can access it either through Visier, or again being able to schedule that and having those analyses sent and delivered to your leaders and your managers when meaningful events happen. It's extremely powerful. So the next feature that we're going to cover is flag and fix. So users are now able to flag any potential data issues within Visier if they see any when they're going through, and admins are able to go into Studio and easily review and resolve those data issues. So for the administrator, you're able to go in and you're able to amend that data within Visier without having to wait for source system data loads. And this is really helping to improve the auditing process, and it gives more control back to your user community. So they're able to go in, they're able to go through the platform, and if there's any issues or any potential issues that they can see, it's very simple and straightforward to them to flag that, provide a reason, and your administrators have a list of potential data fixes that they need to review. So it's really helping to improve the data accuracy within a timely manner. As I said, it's a very straightforward and a very quick process. And you're helping to reduce that friction as well. So making it easier for the users, for the administrators, and you're helping to create more confidence in that data. So helping to ensure that your analytics solution has that correct data in there, and providing that confidence where users can go in and they can understand that the data is accurate. If there's anything that they feel they need to change, they can easily do that within the platform. So allowing for that more proactive approach and just making it a lot easier for users to flag things in the system. All right, I'll hand it back to you, Mike, for a demo.
Lovely, thank you, Stephen. I'm just monitoring the questions that are coming in. But it's all right, Ty's on top of it. Right. Okay. So flag and fix. It's interesting because this new feature is really exciting for lots of our customers. I kind of prefer it to be flag and list. Some of my colleagues, we've been discussing whether you should be fixing this within Visier, or whether you should leave it to the source system, fix it as source, and then not fix it in Visier. But anyway, the feature remains the same regardless of how you look at it. I mean, again, I'm going to go back into view details. And I'm just going to reset this and just go into view details for any employee. And this is a really powerful feature because, sometimes, fixes at source can take a long time. And if you want your users to engage in the solution, identify problem areas, maybe help you understand where their data is wrong, rather than just getting frustrated, they can now actually do something about it. And there's a couple of ways to flag the problems. So you can actually create events. So if you think that there was something missing for this individual, you can create an event, you can describe the issue, you can choose the event from the list. So maybe this person exited and they're still being shown as live, or they had a pay change event and their pay is wrong. So you can put in a data issue that way. Or you can also make changes to the data simply by right-clicking and reporting a data issue. So maybe here, for example, this person has the wrong job job title. Oops. I can suggest a new value. I can say when this value started from. You can also put in an end date if necessary, or you can just leave that end date blank, and then you can report the problem and that data issue will be then picked up. And then to show you the other end of it, so it's very easy to flag the issues. If you then wanted to go and then as an admin person, go and have a look at those issues, you can go basically into your studio in the back end. Now, sometimes people might not have seen this, but then you've got a tab under the data tab where you can go and have a look at reported issues. And you can see that I've got some items that are being listed as incorrect. And I can, if I wanted to make changes to these, I can actually highlight them, add them to a project, and deal with them in exactly the way you would deal with any other configuration changes. So nice and simple, really easy now for users to flag issues that they see with the data. If they disagree with it, if they think there are need corrections required, and then you get a nice list of them here where you can then confirm which ones you want to correct, and then make changes to them within a project, nice and safe and sound, and release them to production. So back over to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Mike. All right, next up is traffic lighting on data tables. So now you're able to have traffic lighting on table grids. These are color-coded visualizations, so based on a value or a metric that's crossing a certain threshold. So this is really helping to light up visualizations and make it easier to understand where the key issues and trends are. And when you're looking at table grids and you've got hundreds of rows, it'll be a mission just to identify where the areas of focus should be. So just making that extremely clear and just making it a lot easier to see where your problem areas are or where you should be focusing your attention. And back to you, Mike, for a demo.
Oh, you were nearly too fast for me there, Stephen. I'll have time to get out of studio. Okay, so back into the demo then. So yeah, this one's a nice feature, and this just goes to show how we listen to our customers and how our product development team listen to us in the field. This was only really identified as a requirement relatively recently, and it was turned around super fast and built into the solution really quickly. So if I go into Explore and I pull up our table visualization, and I'm sure lots of you use these for your visuals and insights. Let's say, for example, I wanted to have a look at a table of resignation rates. That's an annualized rate. And then I wanted to do some traffic lighting, just as I would do in any other existing visualization. You can see I now have the traffic light capabilities So let's say, for example, I wanted to add a rule and say if the metric value is greater than 12%, then I want to show that as bad. And obviously I could create multiple rules to show ambers and greens and goods and acceptables. And then very quickly you can basically build yourself a really nice heat map that helps draw the user's attention to the problem areas, and they can then go away and do something about it and take action. Back to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Mike. All right, trend breakdown reference lines. So users are now able to add up to 4 reference line in trend breakdown charts. And this is, again, based on a custom value or a metric. So a good example of this would be if you want to see how you're trending in terms of resignation compared to the rest of your organization, you're able to do that. If you want to track your performance over time or a benchmark across time, that's possible. And this is helping to enhance the storytelling again. So it's making it a lot easier for your viewers to understand the visualization and what you're trying to display. And it also helps to visualize where you're at in terms of your targets and the goals that you've set as well. So just making it easy to see how far you have left to reach your goals, or if you've already reached those goals. And back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Stephen. Right, so reference lines. I think most users of Visier are probably familiar with reference lines. Actually, you've seen a couple of examples of them being used in our AI templates. It's funny, I was trying to remember the other day when we were able to use metric values as reference lines, because when they first came out, they were really focused around being able to put in a custom value, so you could put in a target or an average value if it's a rate metric. But now you have the ability to put in other metric values as well. So I'll also show you that. So let's say, for example, again, I want to look at a breakdown of resignation rates. Again, I'm going to pull up my annualized rate. Should be a fairly familiar visualization for you. I've got the ability, if I want to add in reference lines. And as you know, I can put in reference lines, custom values, but as you now see, I can use metric values too. And basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a metric value. I'm going to use a resignation rate again. But this time I'm going to apply a filter to it. Again, this was used a lot in our internal comparisons. So again, internal benchmarking was a feature that came in relatively recently. But I've got the ability to see my organization, my peers, my reports, my manager's team, etc., as comparisons and use those as metric values and apply those to a reference line. So I can now see that even though I'm looking at the aggregate values of resignation rates across my the entire company, I can see how the average for my organization looks in comparison to that. And of course, I can add in other comparisons. So let's say, for example, I wanted to do another reference line with the same metric again. So adding in, again, resignation rate, annualized, add a filter. And this time I'm going to have a look at my peers. Oops. Click on add, and then I got my my peers. So you can add multiple reference lines, and as Stephen introduced the capability, now also within the trend breakdowns, you've got the ability to add in reference lines at that point too. So you can, take out the existing ones. You can put in reference lines also at this stage. So if you were looking at a head count, for example, you could put in your planned values, you could put in target values, etc., and you could see those just as you would have done in the other visualizations, but you can now see those within your trend breakdowns as well. So thank you. Back over to you, Steve.
Thanks. Now, moving into something else that our data science team has been working on. So they've developed new code that underpins the risk of resignation, propensity for promotion, and propensity for job transition predictive models. And because of that, now these predictive models are up to 12 times better than random guesswork. So they've been working hard on that over the close to the end of last year. So we've just released this for winter. And they've also, the new AI engine is also hosted on new data science infrastructure. So this would help our data science team to be able to innovate and to be able to launch new predictive models a lot quicker. So it'll be now faster for them to test and to be able to push out models into production. We also have some updates to our language within the Visier platform. So to be more aligned with updated languages around gender identity, we've removed references for female and we've replaced it with women in our metrics and in our guidebook analyses. We've also added a selection concept for LGBTQ2+ status. We've added a dimension for LGBTQ2+ identity, and we've also added a property for gender pronouns as well. Now Mike's going to just show us where you can see this within Visier.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, so I'm back in the Explore room and I can see a breakdown of headcount. So this time I'm now going to add in my gender identifiers. And you can see that we now have, rather than male and female, you'll see we have man and woman. It's a more acceptable way of referencing genders. It's not referring to biological sex given at birth, but more to do with identity. Now, of course, the next issue you're probably going to have is that people don't want to give me this information, so you may not have the data available, but you know, the ability to hold it and the changing in terms across the whole Visier suite, including all of our benchmark data, now refers to man and woman, not male and female. And the other thing that Stephen mentioned was also the ability to hold LGBTQ2+ identity. So again, the issues, of course, may be actually data collection, not actually the fact that we now hold it in our blueprint. But we now have that available to hold those types of attributes within Visier. So I just wanted to kind of show you those two examples. Back over to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Mike. Share my screen. All right, near the tail end of the features list. So we've got a few other usability and productivity features that have come out for winter that I'll run through in a bit of detail. So we've got the Java database connectivity connectors. These are under limited availability as well. So if you are interested in this, you need to contact your CSM or just log a technical support ticket and someone will reach out to you. So we now support Amazon Redshift, Microsoft SQL Server, Snowflake, and Google BigQuery. The next feature on the list is default login analysis. So now it allows admins to assign a default analysis as the home location. So when someone first logs in, you've got that default analysis that is there straight away. So this is really helping you to create a more custom experience for your users. And it allows easy access to key insights that users need to be aware of. So whether it's a overview analyses or something specific to the department or the area. And the next one is card carousel. So now you're able to tie up to 10 charts together. And this is really helping to paint a better picture, and it allows the author to paint a better picture, but allows the user to dig deeper into the story to really understand in more detail what the author is trying to show. So being able to stitch up to 10 charts together really provides a lot more deeper insight and makes it easier for the viewer to understand where they should be focusing their attention. Now, was I handing this back over to you, Mike?
Yes, you were. Yeah.
There you go.
It's quite confusing, isn't it, with about 10 changeovers in one 35-minute presentation, but we're doing our best. Okay, so I've got 3 things to show you. The default login. So you'll notice now, besides the guidebook, which I'm sure most people are familiar with, you've now got a little home button on the menu. And if I go to my home button, I have an analysis called Executive Insights, and that's what's been set in our demo environments. So I could have this as basically my landing page when I log into the solution. Now you can have one that's set for the whole tenant, but then you can also define different ones for different user groups within the security settings. So you can then hopefully have people landing on the things that are pertinent to them and their job and their role, etc. So that's one thing. The second thing I wanted to cover was the carousel. So this is just a really neat little addition to analyses. So if I go into my into an analysis, I've handily named it carousel so I could find it easily. You will now see that I can cycle through a number of charts that are sat within a single part of the analysis. And when I go to my edit button to edit this analysis, you'll see that I can then easily add cards if I wanted to add additional insights into this one thing. So it just helps make the layout a bit easier, less scrolling, particularly if you've got lots of information within them. If I come out of the editor, back to my analyses, the third thing I wanted to show you, this is a little bonus because I found this one the other day and I wasn't expecting it. I like the way our product team, they just throw in little nuggets for you to discover. As I scroll down, I'm sure most of you will be familiar with the ability to have links and sub-analyses within an analysis. But you'll notice that you now have the ability to kind of basically put in a thumbnail. And if I just go into my edit mode here, go to that link, edit the link, you'll see that I think most people will have been familiar with the title and description option before, but now you can, you can just turn on to view a visual, and you can select a specific visual from the sub analysis to put as your thumbnail, which is pretty cool. And then you'll see this content. Actually, we've done a lot of those things in some of our pre-built content. So if I go into the guidebook and go into monitor your organization, for those of you who are using some of this content, rather than now just getting a list of links, you get some little enticing thumbnails within your sub analyses to attract the attention of your users and pull them in to get more information about a particular analysis. So that's all I had. Stephen, back over to you.
All right, now to round it off, I will just cover a little bit around the People Cloud Custom Services. So this is a new service offering that we've just recently announced within the last few weeks. And this service is really partnering with you to bring in your people data and with your business data. So bringing in your business data, such as productivity data, your sales data, your customer data, your process data, and combining that with your people data so you can understand more the impact of your business on your people and vice versa. So whether it's around improving operational efficiency, being able to drive stronger sales performance or productivity, optimizing performance of your customer engagement teams, being able to pull in that type of data just really unlocks more insight into your individuals and how they're impacting your different lines of businesses. So if you're interested in this custom service, you can just reach out to your customer success manager, and they will be in touch to bring in someone to help understand what you're trying to achieve and the types of business data that you're looking to bring in. Now, this brings us to the end of the webinar. So really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us cover the winter release features. We can jump to any other questions that you may have. I know there's been